Hi, my name is Mary Augustin. I am a risk manager with the LGLP, the Local Government Liability Pool. We provide liability coverage for entities, governmental entities within the state of Wyoming. So the reason we started providing this service was back in the 80s. A lot of the liability companies that were providing insurance for the local governments around the state basically priced them out, and the legislature decided to enact our pool, and we started providing those services at a lower rate so that the governmental entities could afford them. We have over 500 governmental liability organizations around the state that we provide these services for. Some of the things that we provide are liability coverage for all the entities within the state, governmental entities. We provide claim assistance. We do loss prevention and risk management services for all the entities, governmental entities around the state. And those kind of things, the consultation we provide includes policy recommendations. So like for human resources, we are glad to review your policies. We're glad to review your handbooks and help you out with all of that and just make sure that you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's and making sure everything's covered. We also provide a lot of in-person trainings. We travel all over the state and we provide in-person trainings on risk management, loss prevention, safety, human resources, and a lot of other things. If we can't provide them, we can definitely find somebody who can. And we also provide a lot of board trainings. A lot of our governmental entities are bound by a board of directors. So we go around, we provide trainings on how the board should operate, what their limits are about how they should act with the executive directors, and just making sure that they are well aware of their role on the board of directors and making sure they don't get in any kind of trouble. We also have the ability to provide a lot of online trainings. If we can't come in person, we can do Zoom, or we have over 100 online on-demand trainings that we can present to you. They are anywhere from human resource, risk management, communications, how to write an employee evaluation, how to document when you have a problem employee. We can do anything basically that you need with regards to human resources. Some of the other things that we provide, like I stated, we can review your policy manual, and we can actually review it, make policy recommendations, make sure that everything is covered and that it's all up to date and legal with the current environments. We also can help you with your annual reviews. We can make sure that we can review your annual reviews and make sure that everything is covered. If you have documentation with an employee, we can make sure that everything is done. We review it, our legal team can review it, and just to make sure that you're not going to get yourself in trouble if you do have to take the path of terminating an employee. So some of the trends that we're seeing with regards to human resources and lawsuits and stuff like that are personnel. So we're seeing a lot of issues with progressive disciplines, harassment, any kind of at-will policies. So you want to make sure that those are all updated and current with the laws of today. And that's another thing that we can review with you. And before you terminate an employee, these are some of the things that we're seeing. You want to make sure that your policies are being followed and that you have documented everything with regards to why you're having to terminate this employee, why there's an issue with the employee. Make sure the employee has followed all the personnel policies and those kind of things. And any time that you do have to revise one of your policies, you want to make sure that your employee knows about it, that they have reviewed it, they've been given a chance to make comments on it, and that they have actually signed off that they've received a copy of the current policy. And if there's any kind of training that needs to be done on that policy, make sure you document that you've also done that as well, just in case. And if you have volunteers that work in your organization, that's another thing that we're seeing issues with. Any volunteers should be properly trained. They should have a formal job description. They should have reviewed that job description and signed off on it that they understand. That just makes sure that they know the role that they have to play within your organization and they're not going outside of the bounds of what they were asked to volunteer for. Another thing we're seeing issues with, if you provide any kind of travel assistance with your organization, we want to make sure that the drivers of those vehicles, make sure that you have reviewed that they have a current license, that you've done a background check on their license to make sure they don't have anything that's wrong in the background, and make sure that they're okay to actually be driving those vehicles and driving your clients around. We also want to make sure that if you can possibly do this, we want to make sure that they've had some kind of defensive driving training. Make sure that they know the 2-second rule. Don't follow too closely. Try not to make sure they're not going over the posted speed limits. If there is an accident with one of your buses, make sure that you have reviewed any kind of safety policies. We recommend that every organization have some kind of a safety review. So if an accident does happen, review the accident afterwards. Make sure that if there's anything that comes from that accident, like this person shouldn't have been driving this way, or this rule wasn't followed, or if there's anything that you can improve upon, we want to make sure that you are willing to do that and that you're able to do that. One of the things that we want to make sure that you're aware of is that we provide board of director trainings for your organizations. We know that being on a board can be very difficult, and there's a lot of legal aspects of that as well. If a board member goes outside of the actual board and outside of their regular role, sometimes that can get them in some trouble. So we want to make sure that you know your role within the board and that your board members are very aware of the training that they should have, the caveats that they have surrounding what they should be doing, and the role that they play. The job of a board member is to be an advocate of that board. They should be very aware of conflict of interest, make sure that they're not going outside of their role on the board, but they should be a definite advocate for the board. They should have the board's interest in mind at all times, whether it's financial, programs that are provided, and they should be able to communicate what the board can do to for their members. Sometimes a board member is actually a community member and they go to organizations around fundraising or something like that. So you want to be able to actually talk to the mission of your organization and make sure that your organization is well represented within your community. When you're hiring a new employee, it can be very difficult sometimes to make sure that you're getting the right person in that role. So we recommend doing background checks, driver's license checks, all of those kind of things. In today's environment, it can be very difficult to find the perfect employee. So lots of times we recommend you just give them a little bit of time and make sure that they know that their role, make sure they know what they're supposed to be doing, and give them that needed supervision to help them succeed in that role. If there is any kind of issue with an employee, you're always welcome to give us a call. You can give us a call and we'll go through it with you. Or, like I stated earlier, we'll review the documentation and make sure that everything is correct in that documentation if something happens to that employee or with that employee. If, as an executive director, another employer gives you a call in reference to one of your former employees, there's only certain information that you can provide as a reference. You can provide the date of hire and what their job title was. We recommend that you don't give any kind of information on salary, job description, whether they're eligible for rehire or not. Those are the things just to keep you out of employment law issues. We recommend you just provide those two things. So if you do get that phone call from another employer, we recommend that you stick with those two things that you can cover with them, because you want to be consistent across the board. Whether your employee was a good employee or not, we recommend you just stay consistent and give that exact information no matter who calls you. So in the event that you give employee evaluations, again, we recommend you be consistent and fair across the board with all of your employees. When you give an evaluation, there should be nothing in that evaluation that is a surprise to your employees. If they got in trouble in October and you do an evaluation on them in May, they should have already known about the thing in October. It should be across the board, just consistent, fair, and no surprises to the employee. The only thing that should change within that evaluation that the employee may not know about is some goals that you may set. But we also recommend that you set those goals together with your employee, so because they may have some things that they'd like to do as well. So setting those mutual goals is something we highly recommend you do. So as part of an ongoing evaluation with your employees, it's great if you can talk to them, have one-on-ones with them, meet with them weekly, meet with them monthly, have those goals that person set at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the evaluation period. Have those goals set and go over with them and say, hey, where are we at on this? Have you met this yet? What's the process on it? Having that ongoing conversation and evaluations with your employees is something that's really, really good for you to do because it keeps those communication lines open. So one of the trainings that we do provide is communication, whether you're communicating with your employees, or vice versa, if your employees are communicating with you, how you communicate to the board of directors, how you communicate to your clients. It's basically a communication process that how to communicate with different generations, how to deal with certain situations, how to deal with certain people that can be more difficult than others. So keeping those lines of communication open are something that we train on quite a bit, and we talk about quite a bit in most of our trainings. Because if you don't have that communication between the entity or between your organization and your employees and your people, that makes everything a lot more difficult to get things done. The communication training that we provide does touch on interpersonal communication with regards to like how to have a conversation, how to make sure you're talking to the generational, that kind of stuff. But yes, it does go back and forth between how to talk to your board, how to talk to your employees, how to talk to your community, how to talk to your clients. So in the trainings that we provide on communication, we do touch upon a lot of different types of communication, how to deal with generations, etc. like that. There are a lot of people that want an email. There are a lot of people that won't necessarily be watching their email, and you have to give them a call. There are people that want you to walk into their office and talk to them one-on-one. There are people that likes text messages and don't like to talk on the phone. So there's all different kinds of ways to communicate with different generations, different types of people. There are people that are extroverts and can talk to anybody, anytime, for as long as you need them to. And then there's the people that are kind of the introverts, that they want to see the data. They want to have an agenda for every meeting. They want to, I call them the Excel spreadsheet people, because they want definitely it set how this meeting or how this talk is going to go. They don't like those surprises. So learning how to deal with different types of people and what is needed from them can also help you in your communication skills with them as well. So as part of the government liability pool, we do everything is based on your payroll. Everything is based on the organization's payroll. So however high your payroll is basically how it's going to be figured up. But a normal senior center obviously doesn't make a lot of money. They don't have a large staff. So the minimum is going to be $500, and it goes up from there depending on what you select as a deductible. It goes from anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to $2,000. The highest we go is $5,000 for a deductible. So the liability coverage that we provide is basically in case something happens within your organization, a senior center member trips and falls. They fall on the sidewalk. They fall. Somebody gets burned within the kitchen or something like that. We try to provide coverage for all of those kind of things. But every situation is different. So it's based on the claim that you provide, and our legal department will review it and make sure that it is something that we cover. But like I said, every situation is a little different. So there's a lot of things that we cover, but there's also a few that we don't. When we talk about the local government liability pool, we're talking about liability coverage that we provide to local governments within the state of Wyoming. That includes counties, cities, towns, senior centers, libraries, special districts, fair boards. There's a variety of different organizations, weed and pest districts, waste management, sewer districts, landfills. There's so many things that we provide. If you have any kind of real local governmental connection, there's a possibility that we can provide coverage to you. And like I stated before, that's something that we're able to look at and determine if you meet the criteria. It's basically based on your bylaws and what you have put in those bylaws with regards to being a part of the local government. The local government liability pool, we provide a lot of coverage for local governments around the state. And some of the benefits of that coverage is that we are a lot less expensive than we are able to provide, because we have the pool of local government entities around our state. We're able to provide the coverage that you need for a lot less of the cost. We also, we're very proactive. We provide a lot of proactive training around the state. So with our coverage, with our trainings that we provide, with board trainings, with HR trainings, with risk management trainings, we try to help our organizations before there's an issue. We want to educate you before there's any kind of problem, so you don't get in trouble with claims or any kind of lawsuits, etc. like that. So like I said, we try very hard to be proactive with that kind of training. And we're also available to you. We're a local Wyoming company. We are based in Cheyenne, and all of our people live in the state of Wyoming, and we're able to get to you quickly and with no real bureaucratic issues. So we have provided trainings at the drop of a hat. If there's an issue, we respond quickly, and we try to help you out the best we can to mitigate any kind of issues at all. We have a board of directors, and it's based on our entities from around the state. We have representation from counties, from towns, from special districts, from all over the place. So we get a variety of experience on our board. We have financial people. We have people that provide liability coverages or have in the past. So we've definitely tried to represent all of the entities around the state. So in closing, I just want to make sure that you know that we're here and we're available to you to provide all the HR training that you need, to provide risk management, any kind of trainings like that. We're glad to come to your organization and provide it, or we can do them via Zoom. We are also available to take all your phone calls at any time, and we just want to make sure that our organizations know that we're here for them and the services that we're able to provide for you. So if there are any questions, you can certainly call the local government liability pool, and my phone number directly is 263-1789. Again, that's 307-263-1789. And I'm glad to answer any questions. If I can't answer your question, I guarantee I've got a coworker who can.